Hi. For our summer series, we're going back to basics. Do's and don'ts of resume writing. So the first thing is don't group all your jobs together. What do I mean by that? I got a resume recently. Guys was territory manager for company ABC, DEF, and XYZ. So instead of writing each job description and accomplishments, he did one job description and said, that's what I did for all three of these positions. That's just a lazy way of doing things. Don't do that. Don't omit any jobs. I know people give you some bad advice, but if you don't feel comfortable with the advice someone is giving you, ask them why and ask someone else. So if somebody's telling you to take a job off your resume, that's tantamount to lying by admission. With social media and contacts, people get to find out those things. Don't leave any doubt in the interviewer's mind by letting them find out that you've told a half-truth on your resume. Don't assume. So if you're writing the resume, you cannot assume that the person knows the company name, the department you're working in, the product that they sell. Don't use acronyms. I know that lots of industries use a lot of acronyms. You've got to write the resume for someone who doesn't know you, doesn't know your industry, doesn't know your company. Don't make it too long or too short. I once received a resume that was 22 pages long for a sales job. I get a lot of resumes that are 1 page long as well too, and the person's got 20 years experience. In my opinion, that's too short. Don't just add the last job on top of your resume that you revised 5 years ago. Go back and revise the entire thing. And don't send it out until you're completely satisfied with the quality of it, because people change it over and over again and they send it to the recruiter 5 different times in the last 2 weeks. That's not an efficient use of anybody's time. Here are the do's that I want to see. Write your accomplishments. Make sure that those accomplishments are work-related, but also you can include academic and sports accomplishments, because people that play or do an instrument or play a sport at a very high level tend to be very rigorous in their job as well too. Might be an overstatement, but it's a good thing to include on your resume. Use a professional if you can afford it. So I know it takes time and it takes money, but if you can afford one, use a professional. You can also use templates instead of using a professional. There's hundreds of them out there on the internet. I would say revise your resume 100%. So as I mentioned before, don't just slap the last job on top of it. Look at it. You've grown since the last time you did your resume. Revise every job. Revise how you write it and present it on your resume. You also want to make sure that you include the correct contact information on your resume. So if you want to be contacted on your cellular, or at home, or at the cellular, your personal cellular versus your work cellular, make sure that's what's going on to the top of your resume. And definitely revise it for spelling and grammar. And definitely the last thing is make it yours. Have some fun. You've got to make sure that yours stands out, because we see hundreds of resumes. I hope this back to basics, do's and don'ts for your resume helps you. I'm Dawn Williams from Serious Personnel. I can reach us on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Happy selling.